world held its breath. On April 7, 2026, President Donald Trump made a sudden announcement. He agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. This came just hours before a deadline he had set. Trump had threatened wide-scale destruction against Iran. He demanded they reopen the Strait of Hormuz. His ultimatum was clear. His rhetoric was powerful. The world braced for a massive conflict, one that seemed almost certain to begin. The sudden pause offered a sliver of hope amid rising panic. It was a moment of de-escalation in a crisis that had been spiraling out of control for weeks. The ceasefire did not mean the danger was over. Far from it. President Trump made it clear that American military forces would remain in place. He said they would stay deployed in Iran. He said they would stay deployed around Iran. This was not a withdrawal. It was a tactical pause. The goal, he said, was to secure a real agreement with Tehran. Trump also issued a stark warning. He said any breach of the ceasefire by Iran would trigger a military response. And it would be a response, in his words, larger than anything seen before. The threat still hung heavy in the air. This tense calm raises many urgent questions. At the heart of this crisis is a narrow strip of water. It is called the Strait of Hormuz. It may seem small on a map, but its importance cannot be overstated. This strait is one of the world's most critical energy choke points. Roughly 1/5 of the entire global oil supply passes through it every single day. Think about that. 1 in every 5 barrels of oil powering our cars, heating our homes, running our factories. It is a vital artery for the global economy. When Iran threatened to close the strait, it was not an empty threat. It was a direct challenge to the world's economic stability. A closure, even a temporary one, would have immediate and severe effects. Oil prices would skyrocket. This would be felt by consumers everywhere. Gas pumps in Ohio, electricity bills in Tokyo. The flow of liquefied natural gas would also be choked off. Heating homes in Europe, heating homes in Asia. The global supply chain for many goods would be thrown into chaos. 1/3 of the world's urea fertilizer for farming. The ceasefire may have been announced, but the risk has not disappeared. The recent crisis did not emerge from a vacuum. It was the peak of a dangerous military buildup, a cycle of retaliation. In response to what he called Iran's threatening nuclear activities, President Trump ordered the largest U.S. military deployment to the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Aircraft carriers were sent, bombers were sent, thousands of troops were sent to the Middle East. This was a massive show of force. The message was intended to be one of deterrence. It was meant to pressure Iran into changing its behavior and coming to the negotiating table on America's terms. Iran, however, did not back down. It responded with force of its own. In a significant escalation, Iran launched hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles. These were not small-scale attacks. They were aimed at critical targets across the region. U.S. military bases in allied countries were targeted. Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. The attacks demonstrated Iran's reach and willingness to strike American assets directly. One of Iran's drones struck Britain's Akrotiri base on Cyprus, drawing a key European ally into the line of fire. Israel, a primary target for Iran and its proxies, also faced missile attacks. With so many actors and weapons in play, the risk of miscalculation was dangerously high. Beneath the surface of the military threats, oil disputes. It is the fear of a nuclear-armed Iran. This is the core concern that has driven much of the tension for years. International observers and Western governments are sounding the alarm. United Nations' other diplomatic sources. Iran has accumulated a significant stockpile of highly enriched uranium. This is the material that can be used to build a nuclear bomb. The secrecy surrounding the program only adds to the anxiety and suspicion. France, a French delegate to the UN, recently highlighted that secrecy cloaks the situation surrounding Iran's stockpiles. He noted that Iran possesses around 450 kilograms of highly enriched uranium. Experts say that quantity is enough material to produce several nuclear weapons. This is not a theoretical risk. It is a tangible reality based on the amount of fissile material Iran is believed to have. A growing uranium stockpile, an advancing missile capability, Washington, Tel Aviv, other capitals. They see a potential path for Iran to become a nuclear power, fundamentally altering the balance of power in the Middle East. Iran has consistently maintained that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes only, such as generating electricity, medical research. Wars and advanced weapons programs cost a lot of money. A key part of the US strategy has been to cut off Iran's funding at the source. This is done through a campaign of maximum pressure sanctions. The US Treasury Department has been relentless in this effort. It has sanctioned over 30 individuals, entities, vessels that it says are enabling Iran's illicit activities. The goal is simple: squeeze the Iranian regime's finances so tightly that it can no longer afford to fund its military and weapons programs. A primary target has been Iran's shadow fleet, a network of oil tankers operating outside official channels. They use deceptive tactics to hide cargo origins, allowing Iran to sell petroleum despite restrictions. Diagram: shadow fleet, ship-to-ship transfers, and GPS spoofing. These oil sales are the regime's main source of revenue. OFAC has targeted these ships one by one. By sanctioning the vessels, beyond the strategic calculations and political rhetoric, there is a devastating human cost. This conflict is not a bloodless chess match. Real people are dying. According to recent reports compiled by human rights monitors, the fighting has already claimed more than 3,400 lives across the Middle East. This number includes soldiers, militants, and, tragically, a large number of civilians. Each number represents a person, a family shattered, and a community left to grieve. The violence has been particularly intense in Lebanon, where fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, an Iranian-backed group, has raged. More than 1,500 people have been killed there. In Israel, 23 people have died in attacks. The Iranian government has not released official casualty figures from the direct conflict with the US, which makes the full picture difficult to see. However, the US-based rights group, RANA, has done its own tracking. It estimates the total number dead is close to 3,400, and that of those, more than 1,600 were civilians. The 2-week ceasefire has opened the door for diplomacy, but the path is treacherous. In a sign of cautious hope, Iranian officials have traveled to Pakistan. They are there for closely watched negotiations with the United States. Pakistan, which has tried to maintain relations with both sides, is playing the role of mediator. Its Prime Minister described the talks as a make-or-break moment. The stakes could not be higher. This is a chance to pull back from the abyss. It is a chance to replace threats and missiles with dialogue and compromise. But the negotiations are happening under the shadow of an immense threat. President Trump has been unequivocal. He has warned that if a peace deal cannot be reached, the US will not just renew its military strikes, it will intensify them. The fragile calm could be shattered at any moment. This puts enormous pressure on the negotiators. They are working against a deadline, not just on the calendar, but a military one. The prospect of an even more destructive war looms over every conversation and every proposal being discussed in Islamabad. The ongoing fighting between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon threatens to derail the entire peace effort. A major attack by either side could force Iran or the US to respond, collapsing the ceasefire and the talks along with it.